The aroma of pancakes and warm syrup filled the house as Evie made her way down the stairs. Each step felt heavier than the one before, her heels sinking into the soft carpet. In the kitchen, her mother hummed a gentle melody, acting as though everything was perfectly normal. "Good morning, darling," her mother said, her voice sweet as honey. "I made your favorite." Evie's stomach twisted. She couldn't recall ever telling her mother what her favorite breakfast was. Maybe it had slipped out once in a week moment. The lines between Ethan and Evie were fading fast, and the thought terrified her. She sat at the table, her hands shaking as she picked up the fork. The pancakes looked flawless, golden and fluffy, but the idea of eating turned her stomach. "Eat up, sweetheart," her mother urged, her eyes shining with something Evie couldn't quite read. "You'll need your energy for today." Evie froze, fork hovering in midair. "For what?" Her mother smiled, a slow, deliberate curve of her lips. "We have an appointment." "An appointment?" Evie's voice cracked. "What kind of appointment?" Her mother leaned closer, her tone laced with false innocence. "Oh, just a little something to help you feel more at home in your own skin." Evie's heart raced. "Mom, no. Please, I don't want this." But her mother cut her off sharply. "This is for your own good. You'll thank me later." The room seemed to spin. Evie's mind scrambled for answers, but every possibility felt worse than the last. "I'm not going," she said firmly, though her voice wavered. Her mother's smile never wavered. "Oh, sweetheart, you don't have a choice." The words sent ice down Evie's spine. She pushed back from the table, the chair scraping loudly against the floor. "I'm not doing this. I'm not." Her mother moved quicker than expected, grabbing her wrist with a grip that was deceptively gentle yet unbreakable. "Darling, you're overreacting. Sit down." Evie pulled away hard, breathing in short, panicked bursts. "No, this isn't me. I'm not Evie. I'm Ethan." For a split second, her mother's loving mask slipped, revealing something cold and menacing beneath. "Ethan is gone," she said flatly. "And if you keep resisting, you'll only make things harder for yourself." Evie's legs buckled, and she dropped to the floor, tears spilling down her cheeks. "Why are you doing this to me?" Her mother knelt beside her, gently brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Because I love you, Evie. And sometimes love means making the tough decisions." Evie shook her head, sobs growing louder. "This isn't love. This is control. You're trying to control me." Her mother's eyes narrowed briefly, a flash of anger showing before the sugary smile returned. "You'll understand one day. Now get up, we don't want to be late." The car ride was tense and quiet. Evie stared out the window, her thoughts spinning. She needed an escape plan, but her mother had taken her phone, her wallet, everything. She felt completely trapped. The building they arrived at was plain and unmarked, just ordinary brick walls. Evie's stomach knotted as her mother guided her inside, grip firm on her arm. The waiting room smelled strongly of antiseptic and felt coldly sterile. A woman in a white coat greeted them with a professional smile that didn't touch her eyes. "Ah, you must be Evie," the woman said in a detached tone. "We've been expecting you." Evie's pulse hammered. "What is this place? What are you going to do to me?" The woman ignored her and turned to her mother. "We'll take it from here." Her mother nodded and let go of her arm. "Be good, sweetheart. I'll be waiting." Panic surged through Evie as the woman led her down a long, dimly lit corridor. "Please," she begged. "You don't understand. I don't want this. I'm not." The woman stopped suddenly and faced her. "Your mother has told us everything. This is for your benefit. Let's keep moving." Evie's legs felt like lead as she was ushered into a small, windowless room lined with medical tools. In the center stood a chair that resembled a restraint device. "No," Evie whispered, backing away. "No, no, no." The woman seized her arm. "This won't take long." Evie struggled with all her strength, but it was futile. She was strapped into the chair, arms and legs secured. A mask covered her face, and the last thing she saw before darkness took over were the woman's cold, emotionless eyes. When Evie woke, she was back in her bedroom. Sunlight poured through the windows, feeling too bright and unnatural. Her body felt different, heavier, altered in some deep, fundamental way. She stumbled to the mirror, breath catching sharply. The face staring back was undeniably more feminine. Softer features, a more curvaceous figure. The changes were subtle yet unmistakable. Her mother's voice came from behind her, soft and soothing. "You look beautiful, Evie. Evie spun around, eyes wide with horror. What did you do to me? Her mother smiled warmly. I told you, darling. We're making it permanent. Evie's legs gave way again, and she sank to the floor, her mind reeling. This couldn't be real. But it was, and there was no undoing it. Days blurred into weeks. Evie's fight slowly weakened as the physical changes became irreversible. The world around had treated her as Evie without question. Her mother's control felt total. Any pushback was met with calculated, icy manipulation. Yet deep inside, a fragment of Ethan lingered, refusing to disappear completely. One night, lying in bed and staring at the ceiling, a risky plan took shape. It was dangerous, but it was her only hope. She waited until the house fell silent and her mother was surely asleep. With shaking hands, she packed a small bag with what little she could claim as hers. She crept downstairs, heart thundering. The front door stood like a gateway to freedom. But as she reached for the knob, a voice froze her in place. Going somewhere. Her mother stood at the top of the stairs, expression unreadable. Evie's breath hitched. I can't do this anymore. Her mother came down slowly, deliberately. Oh, sweetheart, you don't mean that. Evie backed away, hand tightening on the door handle. Yes, I do. This isn't me. I'm not Evie, I'm Ethan. Her mother's smile was tinged with sadness, almost pitying. Ethan is gone, darling. If you leave, you'll have nothing. No one. Evie's determination faltered. Her mother was right. She had no money, no friends, nowhere to turn. But staying meant losing herself forever. With a deep breath, she twisted the handle and stepped into the night. The cool air brushed her face, bringing the first spark of hope she'd felt in weeks. She didn't know where she was headed or what came next, but one truth burned clear. She was Ethan, and she would fight to reclaim that identity no matter what it cost. The streets were unnervingly empty as Ethan moved through the shadows, his breath visible in the chilly air. He had no plan, no destination, only the urgent need to put distance between himself and his mother. The bag on his shoulder felt like a heavy reminder of how little remained. He walked for hours, feet aching in the heels he hadn't been able to change out of. Eventually, he wandered into an unfamiliar, run-down part of town where street lights flickered weakly. He needed shelter, but he had no money, no phone, and no one to call. As he passed a dark alley, a voice called out. Hey, you okay? Ethan froze, heart pounding. He turned to see a young woman leaning against the wall, arms crossed. She looked early 20s, with short dyed hair and an oversized leather jacket. I am fine, Ethan stammered, stepping back. She raised an eyebrow. You don't look fine. Looks like you're about to collapse. Ethan hesitated. He didn't trust her, but exhaustion was winning. I just need a place to stay. Just for tonight. The woman studied him for a moment, then nodded. Come on. I've got a couch you can crash on. Ethan's relief was brief. He didn't know this stranger and had every reason not to trust her. But what other choice was there? Her name was Sam. She lived in a small, messy apartment above a laundromat. The place was cluttered but warm, and for the first time in weeks, Ethan felt a hint of safety. Sam handed him a blanket and a mug of tea. So, what's your story? You running from something? Ethan stared into the steaming cup, hands still trembling. It's complicated. Sam sat across from him, her face softening. I'm not here to judge. If you're in trouble, maybe I can help. Ethan paused. He wanted to spill everything, but the words caught. How could he possibly explain? My mom, he started, voice low. She's not who I thought she was. Sam leaned in, eyes narrowing. What do you mean? Ethan drew a shaky breath. She's been trying to change me. Turn me into someone I'm not. Sam's expression grew serious. That sounds seriously messed up. You need to get away from her. I did, Ethan said, voice cracking. But now I don't know what to do. I have nowhere to go. Sam was quiet for a beat, then nodded. You can stay here for a while. But we need to come up with a real plan. You can't hide forever. Ethan nodded, tears forming. Thank you. Over the following days, Sam helped him adjust. She found him better-fitting clothes, helped remove the makeup, and even trimmed his hair to look more like himself. The bodily changes, however, were much harder to reverse. Every mirror glance reminded him of his mother's work. One evening, while sharing takeout on the couch, Sam finally asked the question he'd been dreading. So what's really going on with your mom? Why is she so fixated on turning you into, well, you know? Ethan sighed, poking at his food. I don't know. She's always been controlling, but this is on another level. It's like she's trying to erase who I am. Sam frowned. You think she has some bigger plan? Like, is she in some kind of cult? Ethan shook his head. I don't think so. It feels more personal. Like she's trying to live through me or something. Sam's eyes widened. Wait, you think she's turning you into a version of herself? Ethan froze. The thought hadn't crossed his mind before, but now it fit in a horrifying way. Her obsession with perfection, her total need for control. Was she molding him into what she once was? I don't know, he whispered. But if that's true, I'm in even deeper trouble than I realized. Sam leaned back, looking grim. Then we need to find out what she's really up to, and soon. With Sam's support, Ethan started uncovering pieces of the puzzle. They searched old photo albums, dug through online records, and contacted people who knew his mother from before he was born. What they discovered was disturbing. Victoria had always chased perfection. As a young woman, she'd been a model whose career ended abruptly after a major scandal. She vanished from public view, only reappearing years later with a young son. But the biggest shock came from an old newspaper clipping about a missing girl named Evelyn, who had disappeared without a trace more than 20 years ago. Ethan stared at the faded photo, pulse racing. The girl looked eerily similar to him. Sam, he whispered. What if I'm not really her son? What if I'm someone else? Sam's eyes widened. You think she kidnapped you? Ethan's thoughts spun. It would explain everything, her iron grip, her drive to reshape him. But if it was true, then who was he really? Armed with this knowledge, Ethan knew he couldn't keep running. He needed answers, and only one person could provide them. With Sam by his side, he returned to his mother's house. Victoria was waiting, her face calm but her eyes intense. Evie, she said softly, I knew you'd come back. Ethan stepped forward, voice steady despite the terror inside. My name is Ethan. And I know the truth. Victoria's smile faltered. What are you talking about, darling? Am I really your son? Ethan demanded. Or did you take me? Did you take Evelyn? Silence hung heavy for a moment. Then Victoria's sweet mask shattered, revealing something much darker. You were always too sharp for your own good, she said coldly. But it doesn't matter. You're mine now, and you always will be. Ethan's heart dropped. Why? Why would you do this? Victoria's eyes lit up with a twisted pride. I needed someone perfect, someone I could shape into everything I lost. And you, my dear, are my greatest creation. Ethan shook his head, tears tracing down his face. I'm not your creation. I'm not Evie. I'm Ethan. Victoria's smile returned, empty and cold. Oh, sweetheart. You'll learn to embrace Evie in time. Just give it a chance. Ethan stepped back, resolve strengthening. No. I'm finished with your games. I'm leaving, and I'm never coming back. Victoria's face twisted with anger. You can't leave. I won't allow it. Before Ethan could move, she lunged, nails digging into his arms. Sam jumped in, pulling her off and shoving her to the floor. Stay down, Sam growled. Victoria glared up at them, fury burning in her eyes. You'll both regret this. Ethan didn't stick around to listen. He grabbed Sam's hand, and they ran. As they drove away from the house, a whirlwind of emotions hit him. Relief, fear, and a deep sadness. He'd broken free from her control, but the wound she left would take a long time to mend. Sam glanced over. You okay? Ethan nodded, though his hands still trembled. I will be. Thanks to you. Sam smiled. Hey, that's what friends are for. Ethan returned a small smile. For the first time in ages, hope flickered inside him. He didn't know what lay ahead, but one thing was certain. He was Ethan, and no one could take that from him. To be continued. Will Ethan manage to fully reclaim his identity and heal from the trauma? What will happen to Victoria, and will she try to reclaim her masterpiece? What other secrets might still be hidden in Ethan's past? The journey is far from over.